Welcome to the Secret History Channel. Be sure to subscribe and like so you don't miss out on more videos like this one. Teenagers cheer with excitement during an Elvis Presley concert at the Philadelphia Arena in 1957. In 1961, an East German soldier disobeyed orders to help a child reunite with their family after being separated by the newly built Berlin Wall. The German airship Hindenburg flies over New York City on an afternoon in the 1930s. This massive aircraft was one of the largest airships ever built and was used for transatlantic passenger travel. When the Beatles met Muhammad Ali in Miami, 1964. In 1945, bags of gold and money were discovered in the Merkers salt mine in Germany. The site had been used by German forces to hide wealth taken from banks and civilians during World War II. A Korean mother embraces her son, who escaped from a prisoner camp in North Korea. During the Korean War, 1950 to 1953, many soldiers were captured and held under harsh conditions in detention camps. Santa Claus swapped his red hat to deliver gifts during the London Blitz in 1940. Marilyn Monroe visits wounded soldiers in Japan in 1954 during her trip to Asia with her then-husband, Joe DiMaggio. Execution by the garrote device was a method used in the Philippines during the Spanish colonial period. At Bilibid Prison in Manila, this procedure was carried out to enforce sentences imposed by authorities. Black Monday in 1987 was a day when stock markets around the world experienced a sharp drop, especially in the United States. On October 19th of that year, the Dow Jones Index fell more than 22% in a single day. During the harsh winter of 1944 to 1945, known as the Dutch Hunger Winter, the extreme food shortage hit the Netherlands, especially in cities under German occupation. Many children carried spoons, hoping to get food whenever possible. Engineer Fred Leichter was hired by the state of Tennessee to evaluate and modernize its electric chair used in execution procedures. His task involved making the equipment more efficient and reducing technical failures. Children working in a factory in Macon, Georgia in 1909. At that time, child labor was common in the United States, especially in the textile industry. German soldiers during a leisure moment in 1939. Before the start of major military campaigns, many servicemen were photographed in everyday situations, whether performing simple tasks or enjoying moments of rest. Baseball players wearing masks during the Spanish flu pandemic in 1918. At that time, sporting events continued, but preventive measures were necessary due to the rapid spread of the flu. A hand-colored photograph shows a young woman in Damascus, Syria in 1912. Young people chat and hang out while sitting on the steps of a local store in Connecticut, USA in July 1949. A moment from the Olympic Games held in London in 1908. This Olympics was the fourth edition of the modern games, bringing together athletes from various countries. Jim Jarvis, an orphan who lived on the streets of London around 1880, represents the harsh reality of homeless children in the Victorian era. Workers maintain the Great Green Wall, a 36-foot-tall yew hedge surrounding Oakley Hall. An ambulance motorcycle, used in the early 1900s, was one of the first examples of fast transportation for medical emergencies. A Victorian morphine injection kit used in the late 19th century. These kits were common at the time and contained syringes made of glass and metal, often stored in elegant wooden or leather cases. A Victorian couple tries to hold back laughter while posing for a portrait in the 1890s. Inhabitants of St. Kilda, a remote archipelago in the Outer Hebrides, Scotland, in 1926. These islands had been inhabited for centuries by a community that relied on fishing and seabird hunting for survival. Acrobats balance on top of the Empire State Building in 1934. Arnold Schwarzenegger at 16 years old in his first bodybuilding competition. A maintenance crew carries out repairs on the Graf Zeppelin while in flight over the South Atlantic after the airship was damaged by a storm in 1934. Edward Llewellyn poses with a massive Black Sea bass caught off Catalina Island, California. The fish, which weighed 425 pounds, set a world record at the time. Tsarevich Nicholas Alexandrovich Romanov, son of Tsar Alexander III, is seen in a rickshaw in Japan in 1891. A Spitfire Mark 7 from the 41st Squadron flies over Eastbourne, East Sussex on April 12, 1944. The aftermath of the 1906 San Francisco earthquake shows the destruction caused by the disaster. An everyday scene on the streets of Chillicothe, Ohio in 1940, captured by photographer Arthur Rothstein. The day candy rationing ended in England in 1953 was marked by celebrations and long lines at candy shops. One of the last photos of Charlie Chaplin, taken in 1977. A boy befriends a penguin at the London Zoo in 1958. A woman talks on a public telephone attached to a pole sometime between the 1900s and 1910s. Famous writer Agatha Christie, known for her mystery novels, was also passionate about surfing in 1922. A rural barbershop in Brittany, France, in 1900, shows a simple setting where locals got their hair cut and shaved. In the surgical amphitheater of Bellevue Hospital in New York, doctors and students observed medical procedures for learning and research. The Ramp of Domitian, built in the 1st century AD, was a private 10-story passage that connected the Imperial Palace on Palatine Hill to the Roman Forum. The Mars Field roller coaster in St. Petersburg, 1895. By the late 19th century, amusement parks were becoming popular in Russia, offering exciting entertainment for the public. A Ford Model A pickup truck waits patiently as a train passes at a railroad crossing in 1930. A construction worker takes a break during the construction of the Chrysler Building in New York in 1930. A family happily travels in a Fiat 500 during the summer of 1960. Young people hitch a ride home after the Woodstock Festival in 1969. A dog named Pip was symbolically sentenced to life in prison for allegedly causing the disappearance of the Pennsylvania governor's cat in 1924. Before the invention of radar, soldiers used special devices to detect enemy planes by the sound of their engines. 2 passengers sitting in a Rex Smith airplane developed in Maryland in 1912. A glimpse of the streets of Paris 101 years ago. In the early 1920s, the French capital was experiencing a vibrant period, marked by recovery after World War I. Anna Swan, a circus performer standing 7 feet 11 inches tall, was photographed next to a short-statured actor who weighed only 24 pounds. A woman being dressed in a crinoline around 1860. This structural garment, made of metal hoops or horsehair, was used to add volume to skirts and create the desired silhouette in Victorian fashion. A peasant family in Voronov listens to the radio for the first time in 1928. At the time, radio was still a novelty in many rural areas, bringing news, music, and speeches directly into homes. A woman stands in front of a massive cedar tree in Stanley Park, Vancouver, British Columbia, in 1897. These impressive ancient trees were part of the region's vast forests, some hundreds of years old. An old iron anchor, once used for hoisting or pulling heavy objects, especially in agriculture or maritime activities. Women's fashion, in 1908, illustrated by W. Nichols, featured long dresses with elegant silhouettes, slim waistlines, and delicate details like lace and embroidery. Hats were large and decorated with feathers or flowers. The largest ancient mosaic in the world was discovered in Antakya, Turkey, during the construction of a hotel. Created around the 3rd century AD, the mosaic covers a vast area and features intricate geometric patterns, reflecting the region's rich cultural heritage. Young people chat and hang out while sitting on the steps of a local store in Connecticut, USA, in July 1949. Homes for royalty with special needs were kept out of public view throughout history. A zebra-drawn cart was used as a means of transportation in Calcutta in the 1930s. Freddie Mercury with his mother in the mid-1940s. Born as Farrokh Bulsara in 1946 in Zanzibar, Mercury grew up in a family of Persian and Indian descent before becoming one of rock's greatest icons. Emperor Hirohito of Japan inspecting the Type 90 air sound detector. This equipment was developed before the invention of modern radar and was used to detect enemy aircraft by the sound of their engines. An actor wears a flying monkey costume during costume tests for The Wizard of Oz, 1939. These winged creatures, controlled by the Wicked Witch of the West, became one of the most iconic elements of the film. A busy street near a tenement in New York City, photographed in 1910. A couple is seen riding a bicycle while pulling an improvised cart with a goat and hay. Workers assemble Rolleiflex cameras at a factory in Germany in 1949. Known for their high quality, Rolleiflex cameras became popular among both professional and amateur photographers. A pair of inflatable slimming shorts, popular in the 1970s, claimed to help with inch loss through heat retention. An elderly woman from Bengal carries a British man on her back in West Bengal, India, around 1903. A group of children lies on the floor of a classroom during kindergarten nap time. A teacher sitting nearby appears to supervise the class while a record player plays a recording. A stunning photo captures an elegant woman performing a sword-swallowing act. The Tupolev Tu-2, a Soviet aircraft from the 1940s, was modified to test an experimental setup known as the PP-41 Hedgehog. In 1902, a striking photograph shows men standing on a massive log raft on the Columbia River in Oregon. An old photograph taken at a bar in the Netherlands, capturing a spontaneous and relaxed moment between two people. Beautiful, don't you think? Police officers examine an illegal plant seized in the United States in 1951. An old photograph of a pair of children dressed in wedding attire in Korea in 1910. The woman's expression shows satisfaction after a successful hunt in West Virginia. La Coupole restaurant in Paris in the 1930s was one of the city's most iconic spots, known for its sophisticated atmosphere and popular among artists, intellectuals, and celebrities. Spanish Egyptologist Eduardo Toda Higuel, known for discovering and opening the tomb of Sennacherib, poses next to Egyptian mummies at the Bulak Museum. Workers paint the Brooklyn Bridge in New York on December 3, 1916. A man poses at the original famous Muscle Beach in 1949. A taster, an employee responsible for checking the inside of barrels by smell before filling them with Guinness beer. A curious record captures the moment a replica of the Statue of Liberty was photographed in the backyard of a house in the United States in 1930. Sefton Church is an old structure located in Merseyside, England, north of Liverpool. Unusual houses built inside massive tree trunks and stumps in the United States. These unique homes emerged mainly in the early 20th century, utilizing the hollow spaces of giant trees to create a cozy and distinctive living space. A computer with only 10 megabytes of storage cost thousands of dollars in the 1970s. A Harley-Davidson motorcycle with a covered sidecar used as a transport vehicle in the 1920s. These covered models were adapted to protect passengers from the weather conditions. Elizabeth Taylor poses next to her brother, Howard Taylor, in 1947. A family gathered for their daily dinner in 1943. During this time, especially during World War II, family meals were considered essential, strengthening bonds and providing a moment of togetherness during difficult times. A dairy school in Canada in 1927. At the time, such institutions were essential for teaching modern techniques in milk production and dairy products like cheese and butter. An Italian milkman during the 1970s. At the time, it was common for milk to be delivered directly to homes in glass bottles, often transported by bicycles, motorcycles, or small trucks. Iron Breast, a member of the Piegan Native American tribe, photographed in 1900. A Native American telephone operator works at the Many Glacier Hotel switchboard in 1925 or 1926. One of the oldest people ever photographed, between 1840 and 1850. At that time, photography was still a novelty, and capturing images of elderly individuals was rare.